Etymology and historical origin of the baby name Edmund. Edmund is one of the oldest Anglo-Saxon names we have. It comes from the Olde English Ēadmund, composed of the Germanic elements ead, rich, blessed, and mund, protector. The name has significant historical value in England, having been borne by two kings. Edmund I is considered by many historians the second monarch to rule over a unified English kingdom in the mid-10th century, although his rule would be cut short by his murder at the hands of an exiled thief. The other Anglo-Saxon king of England came in the early 11th century, 1016, with Edmund Ironside, Edmund II, who earned his Ironside nickname due to his bravery against the invading Danes under the leadership of Canute. After two decisive battles wherein each defeated the other, an agreement was reached to divide the kingdom. Edmund II would rule Wessex to the south, and Canute would rule Mercia and Northumbria to the north, and whoever outlived the other would inherit the entire kingdom upon his death. Unfortunately, a pact like that has one glaring flaw: it encourages murder. Edmund Ironside would die under mysterious circumstances, and the whole of England was passed to the Danish Canute. Edmund was one of the few Anglo-Saxon names that persisted in usage even after the Norman conquest of 1066. In more modern times, it was famously borne by English poet and author of The Faerie Queene, Edmund Spenser, 1552–1599, as well as New Zealander Edmund Hillary, 1919–2008, the first man, along with his Nepalese Sherpa, to summit Mt. Everest, 1958. Personality of the boy named Edmund. The number 7 personality is deeply mystical and highly in tune with their spirituality. They operate on a different wavelength than the average Joe. Spending time alone comes easily to 7s, as it gives them time to contemplate philosophical, religious, and spiritual ideas in an effort to find real truth. 7s are wise, but often exude mystery as if they are tapped into something the rest of us don't understand. They love the outdoors and are fed by nature. 7s are constantly seeking to understand human nature, our place in the universe, and the mystery of life in general. This makes them quite artistic and poetic, but they are also keen observers with high intellect, so they are equally scientific-minded. 7s are charitable and care deeply about the human condition. Popularity of the boy named Edmund. For a very long time, Edmund was high-moderate favorite boy's name in the United States, pretty much maintaining top 200 positioning from the late 19th century on up through the 1930s. From that point on, Edmund dropped an average about 100 positions per decade until becoming obsolete in the late 1990s. In fact, 1997 marks the last year Edmund could even claim top 1,000 status in the country. In other words, Edmund has pretty much dropped off the American radar and is now a name barely, if ever, used. It's considered a little too old-fashioned and outdated by today's more modern standards, and, while some other old Manish names have managed to make a comeback in the 21st century, Edmund is not one of them. Do we think Edmund is gone forever? Doubtful. After all, this name has over 1,500 years of usage under his belt. It would be a shame to see him go. Quick facts on Edmund. Gender, boy. Origin, English. Number of syllables, 2. Ranking popularity, not applicable. Pronunciation, Ēadmund. Simple meaning, protector of riches, protected and blessed. Characteristics of Edmund. Eccentric, mystical, solitary, wise, intuitive, philosophical, imaginative. Cultural references to the baby name Edmund. Literary characters of the baby name Edmund. Edmund is the main antagonist in King Lear, perhaps William Shakespeare's most famous tragedy, written between 1603 and 1606. He is the illegitimate son of the Earl of Gloucester, whose plan to remedy this situation is to murder both his father and his brother in his attempt to become Earl. His machinations lead him to meddle in the nefarious affairs of Lear's younger daughters, Goneril and Regan, flirting with them both and attempting to divide them against each other. He is also instrumental in ordering the deaths of Lear and Cordelia. At play's end, there are lots of dead bodies, and Edmund is responsible for many of them. As dastardly, bastardly as his deeds are, we cannot help but have some sympathy for this ill-used and overlooked son. Edmund himself, unlike other Shakespearean villains, comes to admit to and try to nullify the consequences of his evil doings. It is, alas, too late, and he dies without that redemption. Nonetheless, he has tried, some good I mean to do, despite of my own nature. Edmund Pevensey is a major character in C.S. Lewis' series of fantasy novels, The Chronicles of Narnia, published between 1950 and 1956, perhaps the most famous of which is the first, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. The 4 Pevensey children have been sent from London to the English countryside to escape the Blitz during World War II. In their host's home, they find access to the enchanted kingdom of Narnia through a door in the wardrobe. Edmund is a delightfully awful child for a good deal of the time, and actually betrays his siblings in his greed for the magic candy that the wicked White Witch tempts him with. It is Aslan, the Narnian lion, who sacrifices himself on Edmund's behalf. Edmund sees the light and, after many adventures and battles, rescues Narnia from the witch's power and is crowned king, called Edmund the Just. He was just a tad more interesting when he was such a bad boy. Popular songs on Edmund. Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, a song by Gordon Lightfoot. Famous people named Edmund. Edmund Spenser, 16th century English poet, author of A Euroith Fairy Queenie Euro, Edmund I, 10th century king of the Anglo-Saxons, Edmund Ironside, 11th century king of England, Edmund Hillary, New Zealander, first to summit Mt. Everest in 1953,